Hey, it's leading off right here on Fantasy Pros. I am your host, Chris Welsh, and it is a wonky Wednesday. Kelly Kirby is in the house to break down all the chaos that are your fantasy baseball playoffs. Kelly, what is up?
Not a whole lot today. I'm still ahead in my matchup. ESPN has those 2 week playoff championships, and it's a league I've never won. So I'm like, maybe this year. So I'm only checking it every 3 minutes. It's pretty great. So
Are you a big 2 week playoff championship versus single?
no, I hate it. So
Okay.
because I cleaned up last week, and I'm just like, can we just end this matchup? No, of course not. So
Are you a big end everything before September or very, very early September person, or do you like
no,
the current status?
I like the current status. It's different than football, right? With baseball, you can kind of pick up. You can kind of pick up people at a different rate, and they can play differently, and you can always get lucky. So, I like September baseball. It's fun.
It's a good point. I mean, there are league winners that have been out there. Jake McCarthy, Elvis Andrus,
Mm-hmm.
probably going to be in that mix. Some of the rookie pitchers have been performing really well. Nick Lodolo actually pitching as we're going right now. He's one of those guys that we were looking earlier in the week, last week even. He was under 50% owned in a lot of
Mm-hmm.
leagues. Not to say that a majority of us hanging here and playing are going to have Nick Lodolo out here, but guys like Nick Lodolo and Hunter Brown. We didn't have
Mm-hmm.
to we didn't have to drink bleach or anything. Hunter Brown
I didn't
actually
have to
worked out
drink. It was
yesterday.
great. Yeah, it was great. I was very happy with his performance. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Drink anything. We just drink water. We can just be happy about it that we did not get blown up. So we've got all the stuff for you. We've got. I didn't even look. I'm gonna be honest with you. I completely forgot to look at the wonky bonus for today for the home run. So that might even change my home run call that we do. I imagine it's going to. So we're going to do all that and more, and it should be so much fun. But taking a look at the big headlines, Jacob deGrom, he took the loss yesterday. His K prop took the plus. I was seconds away from taking it too. It's
Mm-hmm.
just so much. It was 9.5. The algorithm on Betting Pros wanted you to take the under. Bogdan and I were both like, just don't want to do it. I went on right before the game and I was like, please be 8.5. Just be 8.5 now. It was 9.5. I
Mm-hmm.
almost smacked it, but he hadn't hit it, I don't think, in like 3 straight games. So I decided not to. And of course, he got it. He got it, I think, in the middle of the fifth inning or something like that. He got his 10 strikeouts, but he was out-dueled by Adrian Sampson. I want to talk to Sampson of the Cubs. Lost 3-1, and Mets were minus 400 going into the game, Kelly.
Yes, I saw that stat. That's why I put it on there. I also had to use the word outdueled,
I
from
like that one.
as a Cubs fan. But yeah, I couldn't. I actually couldn't believe it. I was watching it during my trivia last night, and I'm like, why are we ahead? And then I checked to make sure Degrom wasn't hurt. Honestly, it's like that's the only
Yeah.
reason we could possibly be winning this. So
I
yeah.
had, as I mentioned, a lot of people, like I'm going through September's like a big rank update time for me,
Mm-hmm.
not only just redraft for 2023, but dynasty and prospects. And I put my sole focus on just trying to finish the early 2023. And I have phases of it. This is phase one, where phase one is like kind of get everybody in the area. We're not going crazy deep diving yet. And then once I've got everybody where I kind of want them based on performances, I'll do 30-day checks, I'll do season, how statistically they performed. I'll do phase one. And then phase two, after my initial update, I'll go through and I'll start going through Baseball Savant. Start going through more analytics and stuff like that. So I'm in phase one. When I was doing pitchers last night, because this is my last run, I'm just at pitchers, and then I'm going to organize a little bit of the overall. And I was staring at that top overall, and I couldn't help
Mm-hmm.
myself, but right now to put DeGrom at number one. I just couldn't help myself to do it. I know it would be dangerous. The way he's performed, the way he's looked, just one of those things. And I know plenty of people probably
Mm-hmm.
won't have him in there. If anything, I think he at least has to be for next year in that top tier of whatever it
Yes.
is for you. I think it'll be different for people. For me, it was Burns and Shea McClanahan. You might have Sandy in there. Might have a Tawny. You might have. There's a couple guys. I think the top like 8 pitchers actually are really
Mm-hmm.
solid. But I couldn't help myself with Degrom for next year, Kelly. But I know you will. You're still going to shy away.
No, from a rankings perspective, never. I mean, when he's healthy, he's great. And so at the beginning of the year, assuming everything is good,
I
then
mean,
yeah,
from
I mean he'd
a
be.
drafting perspective, will you pull the trigger?
um, mm, I
Mhm.
personally will not pull the trigger, but it'll just he'll be in my top 8, no problem. The injury would probably knock him behind. probably, let's see, the Burns and maybe Ohtani. McClanahan with the injury also is a little scary. So now I'm bordering on that. Yeah. So
if yeah, I mean, who knows what'll happen in the offseason if I'll be around here at Fantasy Pros. But if I was, and I am, I'd love to be. I would love to be doing some mocks with you. And it's something I do with Bogman over at ITL is I'll go in and I'll press him and I'll go, listen, this is a strategy, because mocks are for strategies. And I'll be like, do this strategy, do that. I would 100% be like, Kelly, we're going to do a mock, but you have to take DeGrom as your first pitcher. You got to commit and see what that build looks like, just to make you uncomfortable. Because I think prep season is about being uncomfortable with your players, just to see what it looks like. Yeah. All right, Aaron Judge, 3 for 4, hit a pair of solo home runs on Tuesday night as the Yankees beat the Red Sox in 10, 7-6. He is now up to 57 and has 26 homers in his last 51 games. Whew. Kelly. Aaron Judge, quite the monster, and continues. And it really, I think we can come to terms with this. He is just going to have more homers in the home run contest than the person. He's just going to have more. I think we have a difference about 5. And Judge is just not going to stop. So Aaron Judge will win the Fantasy Pros home run contest, if we're being real.
Yes. Well, let's be honest. I'm sure that's his motivation, right? Like his free agent year, he's like, I got to win that competition over there. So.
Got to win it for Joe.
Got to do it for Joe. Absolutely. And
100%.
Yeah, that's totally it.
This is my favorite thing. And when I say favorite, it's my least favorite thing, and it makes me mad. And it's just something I'll never, whatever excuse and reason you guys have, it won't register for me. So you're talking to a brick wall about it. But Joe Ryan was dominant last night. He allowed just 2 walks over 7 innings, but he was pulled after the 7th when he had a no-hitter going on. 106 pitches. I think his career high was 110. And it will never register with me, Kelly. Maybe you feel different. Pulling a pitcher that has a no-hitter, whatever the circumstance is asinine to me. And I will always hate it. I was at opening weekend with the Diamondbacks. Yu Darvish had a no-hitter going through 6. He walks them. They pulled him. I don't care if they're young. I don't care if it's early. I don't care if they have 150 pitches. I leave them out there. And then when they give up their first hit, out. I go talk to the guy. I say, pitch to some more contact. Get it low. Get grounders. If you lose it, you lose it. But don't overstress yourself. Obviously, you don't want to break these guys. And I know that's going to be the argument for people. But I hate pulling a pitcher with a no-hitter, and there's nothing else that can be said about it for me.
Do you think that people would tune into a half-hour podcast of you and me agreeing 100% on this topic?
Are you 100% with me on this one?
I'm still bitter about the Clayton Kershaw perfect game in April. He had 80. I mean, come on.
Give me a break.
And it's kind of, for me, I'm like, yeah, 106, sure, that's a fair amount, but what could he get? Like Go Cards is, he's saying you're not going to let him go 9, but I'm like, well, what if he gets through the next 2 in like 10 pitches an inning?
That's like, when I go, and that's the tough part about this. I think Dang had said like not this late in the. None of that matters to me. None of that matters. No. Obviously, I'm not a coach or anything like that, but that'd be my point. He is at 106 through 7. That is a lot. But you go and you talk to this guy and you get a game plan. And you don't let these guys work. I'm going to pitch into the zone. I'm going to pitch probably lower in the zone. Try to let my defense play through. That's just how I am. It's just wild. The opportunities, especially for these guys, is not going to come around. Maybe some will never have the opportunity, and it's just a historical piece of baseball. But I get it. I get all the logic that you guys are going to say. You guys can put it in the chat and be like, not this late. He's young. The injuries that happened, da-da-da. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
My question is, aside from Edwin Jackson and the 145 pitches or whatever they left him in at, that I think they connected to, like being an issue for him for the rest of the year, I'm like, has there been a direct injury for a pitcher having been left in, or is this just kind of that theoretical, if you let them do this every game, you're going to lose them?
You know what I think it is? I think it's similar to like, you know how Chris Sale's pitching motion for 10 years, everyone's like, oh my God, he's going to have Tommy John. And he never did. And then he finally did. And everyone's like, see, told you.
Right.
And it's just like, well, okay, you're having a correlation to something that was all those years, and now, now he finally gets hurt. But it's different game. Actually, Go Cards is kind of saying a true point. Go Cards saying, hey, the kids say leave him in, the old guy says pull him. Yeah, that's the difference. That is an absolute difference. I think the game has changed. I think obviously, actually, ironically, the guys don't go further into games like they used to, but I just have a hard time believing that, you can't do this. Hey, you know what else you could do? You could throw bullpen sessions short earlier in the week. I have a hard time believing these guys can't try to go 130. But, whatever. They pulled a no-hitter. Twins, could have used a little bit of positivity. They didn't have it, and he was pulled. Blah. Yeah. A couple other pieces. Astros manager Dusty Baker said Verlander tentatively scheduled to return to the rotation on Friday against the A's. Boy, could that be a better matchup.
That could not be for him. Speaking of a guy who could throw 140 pitches. But yeah, no, he'll, I can't even imagine what the strikeout prop on that will be, assuming, how the market sees how many innings they think he'll go.
I bet you it's like 6.5, actually, okay. Like coming off of the injury. But to your point, I'd also like to throw out, like, you tell me you're going to pull Justin Verlander in the 7th with 106 pitches with a no-hitter. I don't think so. I don't know.
Right, no.
Scooter. Nope.
And I really want to see someone try that with Scherzer. So.
Oh yes, 100%. To this point, it'd be funny if Joe Ryan started to play like he's like a 15-year vet, and he's just like, no, he just wave him off and get out of here. That's actually one of my favorite things is when pitchers try to wave off. One of the funniest moments in one of the first years I was really paying attention to the Arizona Fall League. This is the Fall League, by the way, which is like an exhibitional league in the off season for the top prospects, the finishing school, using air quotes. And there's a kid, I don't think he even pitches even a relief anymore, Connor Green. He used to be a top prospect with the Blue Jays, and I think he was pitching with the Cardinals for a bit. And Connor Green was like a practical nobody. And during the Arizona Fall League, he's on the mound. He had pitched a couple innings, and the manager starts to come out, and he is shooing him off. He's literally doing this. He's like, no, I'm not coming out. And he's shooing him off. First off, I'm like, this is the Fall League, dude. But second off, any pitcher that does that, what's the success rate of your manager being like, oh, yeah. No, I'll go back. Like, no, that's not going to work. It's not going to work. But I'd like to see Joe Ryan do it. The final piece of our news, Clayton Kershaw, 7 innings, 2-hit shutout ball in Tuesday's 4-0 win over the Diamondbacks. That is 2 straight shutouts they had on the Diamondbacks. Dodgers clinched the NL West for the 9th time in 10 years. And all is normal in baseball, Kelly.
Yep, and that's just a staple at this point. That'll be a fun trivia question in 50, 60 years of how much did they lose that 1 year by?
Yeah, exactly. What was interesting too, Bogman and I were talking about this, that the Dodgers had this locked up, but apparently going into yesterday, there was still this 1% mathematical opportunity that it was like if they lost all their games and the Padres won all theirs, and it's like, give me a break. So it's like the magic number is 1. It was like, Dodgers are good. They're going to be good. And then they proceed to shut out the Diamondbacks essentially 10-0 over 2 straight days. Dodgers are just fine. On the injury front, Tristan McKenzie's next start is going to be pushed to Friday against the Twins. Jordan Alvarez is being held out Wednesday due to some hand soreness. This per Dusty Baker. I was actually kind of looking at where he was, but they're going up against a lefty today anyways when I was doing the home run contest stuff. And the Angels place infielder Andrew Velasquez on the 10-day IL with a torn meniscus in his right knee. That's not a good meniscus or a tear to have, as I'm told.
No, I imagine that's quite painful.
No. Here's a great stat that you put together from Sarah Lang, Slangs on Sport. Aaron Judge now has 10 multi-home run games this season, tied for 3rd most in a season in MLB history, behind only Hank Greenberg in 1938, of course, old Hank Greenberg that we all think about, with 11, and Sammy Sosa in 1998. Do you think he'll beat this? You think he could take this one down?
Yes, I think he will. I think next couple of weeks he'll just do it again. I don't know what their schedule is, but it's kind of a cake, isn't it? Don't they have kind of an easy one coming up?
It just doesn't even matter either. Just Judge.
It doesn't.
This is one of those things I do like because, as you can tell, something that really annoys me is when the gas is taken off from teams in baseball, back into the year. Any sport does it. Playoffs come, guys start to sit, you start not getting. I don't like the pedal being let out of. But with Aaron Judge on this record potential pace, they're not going to like sit him. They're not going to take him off of anything. He's going to be, and obviously they're still, they're fighting for what they're fighting for, but there's not going to be anything that's going to let off. He's just going to get to go full bore. The only thing that's going to stop him is really how AL pitchers are going to attack him. If he's going to get a lot of walk duty, pitchers don't want to be the one that gives up a record-breaking homer or for him to pass Maris or anything like that. So Judge is going to get the full bore. I think he ties this. I don't know if he breaks it. I think he ties this. I think he has one more in the chamber.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I think he'll tie it. I don't know if he's got two more of them, but I think for sure one. So.
And it's still the worst thing is that Joe is just attached to him every single year. Here's a trivia question for you. Who was the last pitcher before Sandy Alcantara to reach 200 innings in a season in fewer than 30 starts? So this happened within the last, just give you like 8 years. So, it's a modern-ish pitcher. So the last pitcher before Sandy Alcantara to reach 200 innings in a season and did it in fewer than 30 starts. And we obviously know, he's been going 6, 7, wants to go 8. He gets pissed if he doesn't go 7 innings in a game. I think this is a pretty fun one. Kelly, do you have a guess?
Lance Lynn would be my guess.
That's a good guess. You know what? It's not, but I feel like it's in the same vein. Jim's said DeGrom. This pitcher still exists. He was on another team. And it's not, I'm just going to give you, it's not the like Coles or DeGrom. It's not that huge, massive of a name. It's an AL pitcher. I'm going to give you. So we'll sit on that. We'll ruminate on that. We can come back to it, see if you guys can get it. Some stat heroes. Mark Mathias, 2 homers, 3 for 5, 4 RBI, 3 runs yesterday. Aaron Judge had a couple bombs, as we told you. Dolis Garcia, combo meal, 2 for 2, a homer, 3 RBIs with a stolen base and a couple runs. Thank you very much. Jose Miranda, 2 for 2 with a homer. Gio Urshela had a bomb. Jordan Alvarez getting the day off, but he had a homer yesterday. Darmis Garcia with the A's had a homer and 4 RBIs. Max Muncy continues kind of his hot run. Ke'Bryan Hayes with a bomb, and Carlos Correa. There's multiple guys to really kind of pick out of here next year. Let me do this. Next year, Jose Miranda or Max Muncy?
I'll do Jose Miranda without a lot of hesitation. Yep.
Okay, me too. Just the solid return that Muncy's had is kind of returning some of the value. Justin Turner's kind of done the same thing that I think it's picked him back up. But yes, I agree with you. It is Miranda, but I don't know if everybody would feel the same way immediately. Even though you didn't hesitate, I wouldn't hesitate. I feel like some might.
I think if anyone who's had Muncy all year will probably pick Miranda because of how bad he was. He still, but yeah, as long as he's a Dodger and he plays in that lineup, like he has value from that perspective. But
have you also? I don't know what your take on him into this season is, but I am one of the players I would say I'm most impressed with this season, and obviously there's like a litany of them, is Adolis Garcia. Like I was critical last year with Adolis being able to maintain. And this year, he's just redoing it again. He's closing in on, I don't know if he's going to get there, but closing in on a 30-30 season. His batting average is more than serviceable in this era. He's not hitting under 230 or anything like that. He looks like an absolute steal. And he was one of those guys when I was doing early outfield ranks that, I think we prop up guys like Randy Rosarena and we prop up guys like Teoscar Hernandez. I don't think Adolis is really any bit further away from those guys, maybe even below them, if I could throw it out.
Yeah. Adolis and Austin Riley were the two that I think I let sort of analyst like feeling to really influence me. Like they're not going to be able to do this again. This is, there's going to be this regression. Adolis strikes out too much. And I'm with you entirely on that he can be in the same conversation with the Rosarena and Teoscar without
we're gonna do all the stats, but just to pick up here, these are great guesses. Jim said Cueto. No, I think that's a great guess. We had 2 Robbie Rays. That is incorrect, and we had an Eovaldi. You guys still don't have it, but I do feel like you are fishing in that similar pool. I will say during this time, which was, again, within the last 8 years, this guy was seen as one of the top pitchers in baseball at that time. He's just not now. There's one more hint for you. Over on the pitching side for the pluses, Yu Darvish went 8, struck out 7. Joe Ryan, as we told you, went 7, struck out 9, giving up no hits. Kershaw struck out 5. Of course, I had a prop this was a prop I put together. I like to do my little 2 strikeout props. I had Kershaw, 6 strikeouts, Kyle Wright with 5, and Kyle Wright got 4, and Kershaw left with 5. So killed me yesterday. Luis Ortiz, 5 2/3 with 5 strikeouts, and Jeffrey Springs, 6 innings, 5 strikeouts, 3 hits on the heroes. The zeros, bunch of 4K guys yesterday. Jake Sawinski, Tommy Pham, Jake Cave, Nick Prado, and Zach McKinstry. I think this is McKinstry's second straight day on this. All big K performances on the negative. And on the pitching side for the zeros, Cole Reagans gave up 7 earned runs. No, thank you. Chris Bubich gave up 5 earned runs, and Kim Waldachuk 5 earned runs, striking out 6. Okay. Trivia question. Getting back to it, I asked, who was the last pitcher before Sandy Alcantara to reach 200 innings in a season in fewer than 30 starts? You guys all said it was pretty good. Jim's really wants to get this. 2017 Cleveland Indians at the time, Corey Kluber. That was the guy.
Oh, yeah.
Corey Kluber used to burn innings, if we remember. He would get the strikeouts. He would burn major innings. He just can't stay healthy anymore. But so that's why I was saying the Robbie Rays, the Cuetos and stuff, those were really good guesses in that vein, but we were just a little bit off, Kelly.
Yep, just a smidge. But I do remember watching the 2016 World Series, and when the Cubs would come up against him in that first game, and that cutter just, I mean, they broke bats like left and right, and I thought, oh, we're never going to beat him. So he was so impressive.
I have a fond memory of Corey Kluber because in a league that Bogman and I played in, I don't remember what I traded, but we had this trade where he needed a bat. It was innocuous like bat guy, and he's just like, all right, pick between these pitchers, and he had like 3 or 4 pitchers, and I picked Corey Kluber at the time, and this was like the Cy Young year or the year before he got the Cy Young. I'm trying to remember exactly what, but he absolutely went bonkers the back half of the year, and he just wasn't a big name. And I always have that nice little, because he just wasn't seen as, this was kind of like his come up, and he was seen as just like a out of nowhere star at that point. And Corey Kluber always has a soft spot in my heart for there. Home run board, we're going to give you some updates, but let's get the wonky bonus, the wonky Wednesday bonus for everybody on the home runs. You can think about it for a tiny bit before we get to the end of the show. But Kelly, what is the wonky bonus for Wednesday?
So I looked it up today because I was so hoping it was today, but it was actually a month ago. When International Left-Handers Day is, and I actually had a dog named Lefty. All of my dogs have baseball names, and people used to ask me if we named him that because he was left-handed, and I looked at them like it's a dog. But anyway,
you should be like, yes, as a matter of fact. You know what? He writes lefty, but he eats righty.
He eats righty, yeah, exactly. So he's pretty talented. But anyway, so we're just going with lefties today. If the player you choose hits a home run while batting left-handed, then you'll receive 2 times the number of homers that he hits. I never want the bonuses to be like super easy. And 2 things led me to it today. One was even though the population has 10% lefties in Major League Baseball, it's like 22 or 25%. So they're still the minority, but it's more than the population. And then the second part is if you look at the pitchers that are going today, there are not a lot of super left-handed friendly pitchers. So there's a whole lot of lefties going. So
yeah,
and Patrick Corbin. So
yeah, and Patrick Corbin, that changes my mindset. By the way, my son is lefty. I've been trying to tell him, do what you want. I let him do all the arts. He acts, he plays music, but I'm like, if you want to play catch, we can play catch because that lefty arm might pay you off here in a little bit, bud. He's also kind of ambidextrous too. I think that's even more impressive. Like I think my son could be a switch hitter if he really liked baseball enough to do that, because he can throw and catch and do stuff with both hands. Ambidextrous is like the craziest thing to me.
I think that Javi Baez and actually my chiropractor are the only 2 people I know for sure do this, and it kind of freaks me out just a little bit. But they do literally everything left-handed. But when they play baseball, or in her case, she played softball, they throw righty so they can play shortstop.
This is exactly what my son does. Like he will just pick and choose the things where it's like he throws lefty, but then he likes to bat righty, and then sometimes he'll kick with his right. Like he just changes it up, and I don't understand. I don't understand it because I really don't do a lot with my left hand. It's hurt right now. That I don't do a lot with it, except I have been told my handwriting. I hold my hand like I'm a lefty, but I'm a righty. So maybe I should have been groomed to be a lefty, but I'm not. But my son is, and
Right.
let's get up to 90, bud, and let's take care of dad. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm trying to say here.
And this is for everyone who was tired of the O'Neal Cruz conversation and the MVP debate. Today, we're just going to talk about left-handedness. So
just left-handed.
You're welcome.
Exactly. We'll get the home runs here in a little bit. On the board, again, I was not given a updated board, so I wish I could give it to you guys. But Cat Fox still with a 2 home run lead because of a Eloy Jimenez bomb. Cat Fox is at 53, so 4 under Aaron Judge. Elskell did get 1 from Aaron Judge, which moved up to 51. We've got 2 people, High Cubby and D Blum at 50, and Go Cards is at 49 with Helpless in Miami. That is what the board looks like. Mayor and Joey P did move up a little bit with, can you imagine if Joey just didn't have Judge? He'd be down there in the trenches with me. I just have refused to take Judge this whole time, and stupidly. But Mayor is still in contention. Anything could happen, but Cat Fox has got a pretty good lead, and we'll see what lefties might be on the docket here in just a tiny bit. All right, Kelly's here. I can't not do it. I was going to not do it for a little bit here, but we're going to go over to BetMGM. We're going to put it on the Fantasy Pros. This is actually not a bad look with the hat, right? I don't want to take the thing off. Yeah, it's a pretty good look here. All right, we set our tiaras up. We set our crowns up, even if it's on a hat, and we run to BetMGM. We download the app. I've got the app on my phone, or you can do it online, and you can use the promo code leading off, and they're going to hook you up. You have a chance to get a $1,000 risk-free first bet for the first time that you set it up. Go set it on a game line. There's actually some really good first fives today. You could have put it on Nick Lodolo this morning, which Nick Lodolo, someone in the chat told me already has hit 5 strikeouts in his first 6 batters. I think his strikeout prop was 7.5 today. Jims, we're going to talk about this prop right here actually in just a second. There are some good ones that you can play around with, and you can support the show by going to BetMGM and putting leading off in there. And you can support me wearing the tiaras. I don't know if people are getting sick of it. I want to not do it, but then I feel like people are going to be up in arms. It would be like Joe not wearing the crown. And of course, Kelly, I'm I'm the tiara king. Someone said earlier on the show, hey, look, it's the princess and the penguin. And I was like, oh, I'm the princess. I gotcha.
I think that's how we pitch ourselves next year to get
fine.
to do this every so often.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. The princess and the penguin, and everyone will kind of stare at it and be like, hey, listen, guys, that's just what it is. The tiaras, kings and queens, crowns and tiaras, doesn't matter. We got you hooked up. Here's some props. You tell me what you think, Kelly, what you like out of these bad boys. So on the pitching side first, this was the #1 Betting Pros MLB prop cheat sheet player. Patrick Corbin on their algorithm. Strikeouts are set at 3.5 today against Baltimore. They project over 5. It is -150, so it's not great juice, and it's over on DraftKings. The other one Jim's just brought up, over on BetMGM. Jim's, you put, I think it was, what was it, plus 117 for Adam Wainwright, I think is what you had. Well, if you go over to BetMGM, the odds are even better. 4.5 strikeouts over at BetMGM is plus 125. It might move a little bit, but it was currently right before the show set at 125. You just got to get 5 strikeouts versus Milwaukee. I quite like that one as well. On the hitting side, Jock Peterson is your top play as far as total bases go. You only need 1 against Atlanta. It's -145 on DK. And then going back to BetMGM, you talked about O'Neal Cruz. He needs 1 total base. They're projecting him at 1.5, and it's paying plus 105 at BetMGM. So you got Corbin, Wainwright strikeouts. You got Peterson, Cruz, total bases. You only need 1 from each. The plus money is Wainwright and Cruz. You got to pay for the others. So Kelly, what do you dig there?
Well, I think Cruz is already playing, right? So aren't they the ones facing the Reds?
Well,
so.
Aren't they playing a double header, or am I might be making that up. No, they're not. They're already playing. Yeah, so you're right. Well, actually, let's see if it cashed out. It has not. He's 0 for 1. So that was on the algorithm before the show, but you're 100% right. So you can't like that one. You're not allowed.
Okay, so yep, I hate that one. I would say I would put Corbin and Wainwright together. I'm not sure if today is a big deal for Wainwright and Molina. No one's ever said anything about it or talked about it in any way.
What was the thing? Yeah, he said
they're gonna break. They're gonna break it today. The most games played as a battery, I think is the.
Yeah,
it's actually.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so they talk about it a lot in my world, but yeah, but I would take Corbin 3.5. I feel like that's too low. I think you can get 4. So
unfortunately, actually, let me take a look. I haven't looked at Patrick because we did do the disgusting news of how Patrick Corbin has been solid over this last month. Unfortunately, Corbin strikeout totals. He did not hit it in his last one, but he hit the previous 2 against the Mets and Cincinnati. And unfortunately, though, in the month of August, he would have only hit this number twice, 2 out of the 5 games he pitched in. But 2 of the last 3 he has hit. It's a low number. It's Baltimore. I don't hate it. I actually kind of like your idea of propping those 2 together. I love the Wainwright one. It's my favorite one. And that's plus money. And it's over on BetMGM if you guys want to do it. So not too shabby. Let's just jump right into the home run calls. So we've got the lefties. I think I'm going to make an adjustment. I know I'm going to regret it because I was going to play Jose Altuve today, but I think I'm going to make an adjustment. So Wonky, you tell me who you got today for your lefty bonus.
I feel like since the first time I was on the show, now I have to claim him as my own, kind of every week in some way. So I'm taking Joey Gallo, assuming he starts. If he doesn't, I would probably adjust to Muncy. But yeah, I think he went deep last night, I believe, or the night before. So I think he'll get it.
I completely mushed Trout yesterday too. I mean, not that 8 straight was the thing, but I took him and completely mushed him, and he went out, and of course, blah blah blah. Stupid me. Okay, so the bonus is just a lefty hitting a homer today. It's not a lefty on lefty.
No, it's just a lefty, but that they have to be batting left-handed. So you can't call Santander and then have him hit a home right.
Okay, but I could have Anthony Rendon, who bats righty and then turns over and hits lefty and hits a home. Okay, yes. Could have that. All right. Yeah, so switch hitters do count. They just have to be batting lefty when they hit the homer. Gotcha.
Correct.
I'm going to go with Bryce Harper. I'm going to go with Bryce Harper today because he is in. Yeah, he should be good today, right? I'm looking at the RotoWire active lineup. So the MLB lineups is the way to go. I'm going to go with Harper. You know what I was tempted to do? I was tempted to go with Bellinger. So I originally had Altuve. I wanted to go Bellinger. I'm going to go with Harper. So guaranteed Bellinger hits a home run today, and hopefully don't mush that. And I don't see anything for Mayer. We know Joey has got Aaron Judge. And that is it. Kelly, what do you got going on right now?
I am currently writing a lot of articles about fantasy hockey, getting ready for the hockey draft kit, and it's a fun game. Still doing some fantasy NASCAR, and there are a lot of touchdown calls to organize. So yeah, there's just a lot going on.
Is the bot available for the touchdown calls, or is it manual?
No, we haven't filled out a Google form, but then organizing it after that, counting it up and everything is still mine. So it's fun. I love it, but there's just a lot in the first week.
Is it just like the home run contest? Just you pick one touchdown and da-da-da? I need to do that. I didn't do that last week. I'll be behind, but I want to play.
Yeah, so it's really kind of cool. We set it up, Mayor and I set it up just a little differently. So you pick one guy to be your bonus flex. So you get twice as many, again, it's that double bonus touchdowns as he scores. And then you pick a running back, a wide receiver, and a tight end. The catch is that you can only pick them once a season. So once you've picked them, they're done for you.
I like that. I like that. Very fun game. Always fun stuff. Make sure you guys go and check out the Discord over on FantasyPros. There's lots of cool stuff going on over there. Kelly is cool. I'm very cool with my tiara, as you guys know, so no big deal. And that is it for the show today. Find Kelly on Twitter at The Wonky Penguin. You can find me on Twitter at IsItTheWelsh. I will be back tomorrow with Bubba. Think his power's on. And Kelly will be back with me again next Wednesday. For us, thank you. We're out of here. Goodbye, friends.